If you clicked on this video, you probably want to find out how to find a manufacturer. And I'm going to tell you from the start, there's going to be no cuts in this video. It's just going to be me talking to the camera. So if you do not have the mental capacity for that, feel free to click off this video now or put it in like 1.75 times speed or something. That's what I usually do. I've got a list here of exactly how I managed to find my manufacturers, because trust me, I have been through probably about 25 in my time and 90% of them have been crap. So take my mistakes and learn from them. So the first question you're probably going to ask yourself when you're trying to find a manufacturer is, where do I actually find a manufacturer? If you've already started posting on TikTok or Instagram or anything, your DMs are going to be flooded with probably 50. I think my block list on Instagram is like 350 manufacturers I've got blocked who've messaged me saying, hey, brother, or commented flame emojis on my comments, because I don't know about you, but I don't want manufacturers commenting on my post. It looks cheap. So first way you're going to find them is they're going to reach out to you, mainly on Instagram, I found, and it's usually the Pakistan manufacturers. Second of all, good old trusty Alibaba. People hate on Alibaba because there was a lot of drop shipping crap on it, but if you know what to look for, like looking for manufacturers rather than products, there's literally so many gems to be found on there. I found so many good manufacturers there. Third, Google search. If you type in like jersey cotton Pakistan or something manufacturer, someone's going to come up, and usually when you're searching that, it's going to come up with some good ones, because the new manufacturers, the crap manufacturers, aren't actually going to invest into their SEO, so they're not going to be ranked that highly. So usually the higher the rank, the better and more established they actually are. So that creates like a little bit of trust to begin with, but obviously you're going to have to test them out. 4, recommendations from people in the space. Now, if you're starting off, you probably don't have that many connections in the industry already, and you're just going to have to get, like, you're just going to have to learn and connect with people organically. I don't really know what to say about that, to be honest. It took me ages to actually meet new people in the industry that I didn't actually know in person. But once you do, everyone's just sort of helps everyone out. If I need a hat manufacturer, I'll text someone. My mate will give me a hat manufacturer. It's not really about a game of being competitive, because although the market's saturated, 99% of the competition are shite. And also there's enough money and enough sales of like unique clothes to go around. It's never going to be like people don't want the option. People love shopping for clothes, and they always will. And number 5, which I actually haven't got wrote down, which I haven't actually wrote down here, but I attended my first one this year, is like manufacturer trade shows. There's one in London called Source Fashion. That happens twice a year. I think I went in January. There's another one in July. I'll probably go to that one as well. That's really, really useful, because although I do have a system, which I'll go through in this video, to find the manufacturers on Alibaba, it's really hard to actually gauge the quality without physically feeling it and like talking to them, you know what I mean? So these trade shows I thought were really helpful. I got like at least 10 new manufacturers in different areas like knitwear, jersey, sportswear, leather, denim, like people who actually specialize in it, rather than just finding a manufacturer online that says they can do everything, because I'll hit that point a little bit later. But 9 times out of 10, when you speak to a factory and say, oh, can you make this? They actually can't make it, but they know someone who can. So they'll just middleman it and take a little bit of extra, put a little bit of extra cost onto your garment, so they're making something. But that's a story for another day. You need, and the last point about trade shows is it's just nice to feel them as well. You can feel the quality. If someone says a fabric is like, say, 100% cotton, but it's actually got a little bit of polyester in it, you can feel it there and notice. Well, I can notice anyway. So that's really handy. And not to mention, you need to remember that you're actually speaking to people and not just like robots over the internet. Like treat your manufacturer like a person. Ask them about the day. Ask them how they're doing. How was like Chinese New Year's always in February? How was your break? Did you do anything nice? Stuff like that. Just speak to them like an actual human. I don't think I really need to say that, but I'll remind you anyway. Second point that people sort of get, I don't know, a little bit arsey with. I have a stance on this, and you'll hear my stance in a minute, is what country is best to manufacture in. And this actually just depends on what you're actually trying to make. The main countries are Turkey, Portugal, Pakistan, China, and now emerging, especially for like mass sort of like fast fashion stuff, is India. I've never manufactured in India ever. I've never manufactured in Turkey ever. When I first started off, everything was in Pakistan. Now I refuse to use Pakistan because of just the amount of crap you go through with them. The communication's all right, but the quality is subpar. And Frost stands for heavyweight quality that's going to last the test of time. I want to see my stuff in a vintage store, and if I'm making it in Pakistan week in, week out, it's not going to end up in a vintage store. It's probably going to get broke and end up in a landfill, and that is not what we want. My personal stance is China or Portugal, because I've been to Portugal and I've seen it like get made, and the quality is unbelievable. China, I've been working with China for a few years now, and the trust I've got with my manufacturers, I've just found a good one. I've got a good relationship with them. They give me good prices and they never let me down. So that's just so that's why I prefer China. Now, don't get me wrong though. It's sort of wrong to put a whole country's industry into one sort of box, because I had a bad experience with a couple. Now, you can get really, really good manufacturers in Pakistan. I'm just not going to fiddle around with it anymore, because I've got the manufacturers I like. We've got a good relationship. The quality's good, and I'm happy with everything. So I'm not going to try and fix it unless it's broken, because Pakistan can maybe do it for like 50p a unit cheaper. You know what I mean? The one good thing about Pakistan though is that the unit cost is usually low, but sometimes you get what you pay for. Pay cheap, pay twice. That's what they say. Now, once you've found your manufacturer, you're going to want to ask them a couple of questions. Let's take this example as if it's on Alibaba. You've been looking through, you've seen a product and it looks sort of similar to your design, or you like pieces of it and it sort of relates to what you're going for. You click on it, you press chat now. Now, the main important questions are, I mean, if you're a small brand as well, your budget's probably not going to be sky high. So these are the questions you want to be asking. Number one, what is your MOQ? MOQ is minimum order quantity. What is the minimum amount of units that you need to buy at once in a bulk? This doesn't include samples, by the way. Number two, sample lead time. If I place an order today, how long until it's finished and then shipped to me? 3, based on my design, so you're going to have to send them a tech pack. If you don't know how to make a tech pack, I'm probably going to make another video, but that's a story for a different day. Show me previous work based on my design that you've done. That's always a good one. In my tech packs as well, I always make sure to put references in there so they actually know what I want, instead of just like a drawing or a CAD, because you can't really tell much from a CAD, to be honest. If they have like a reference piece that's already been made with like the fabric and like the way it looks, the way it feels, thickness of it, buttons, zippers, it's just well easier for them to find. Visual learner. I'm a visual learner. I'm sure they are too. Number 4, I scalp this religiously when I'm looking for a new manufacturer, is reviews. Alibaba is really good for it, because most of them, well, not most of them, a few reviews will have pictures on them. I need to see the pictures. If I'm buying a cap and the cap, I don't even have a cap on me. Say if the cap is like the brim is like proper squeezed, the head shape looks weird, and someone's like reviewed it saying, "Oh, I ordered this and I got this," I'm probably not going to choose them. But if another one, the hat looks really like uniform, it looks the way it should do, the embroidery's crisp, everything's on point, I'm probably going to lean towards working with them rather than taking a cheap sample and a cheap bulk off someone else because the product's not good. Number 5, bulk lead time. Now, the average lead time I'm sort of working with at China at the moment is where, as soon as I place the order, it's between 20 and 25 days until it's completed. Now, that doesn't include shipping. Shipping's probably another week on top, because I currently use air freight because I'm not planning that far in ahead. I'm just planning to get out what I can at the moment. So anywhere between like 2025 is pretty average, pretty reasonable. You do want your supplier to be able to have that fast turnaround time, but also keeping the quality. Because if I want to put something into production tomorrow, I need to know they're going to be able to do it, because obviously trends fade. And if they have like a schedule where you can only book like 3 months in advance, that's no good to me, mate, is it? You know what I mean? Number six. I don't even know if it's number six. What I was talking about before, what do they specialize in? Because some factories will make anything you send them, but they're not actually physically making it in their factory. They're outsourcing it to someone else and taking a cut. You need to be careful of that. That's why I always ask 5 to 10 different manufacturers when I'm making one product, because I'm comparing all of them. Prices, quality, lead time, everything I've just mentioned there, I am comparing them against. Which brings me on to the Charlie Frost method. Now, the Charlie Frost method consists of a few parts. I've already mentioned the first part. 5 to 10 manufacturers, you compare them all together just for one product. This is for one product, by the way. You don't need to do this every time once you've found someone you trust, but you do need to do it in the first place to get someone you trust, and that's the hardest part. So, after you've got everyone, I like to put it on an Excel sheet. You've got everyone on an Excel sheet, you sort of know who you want to work with. Some of the biggest things I look out for, price is obviously a big factor. If someone's a lot more expensive than someone else, you're going to think, why is that? But that's not the biggest factor. That's not the biggest factor for me, because usually everyone is within maybe $5 per unit of each other. So it's not that drastic. It is if you're buying 100,000 units, but I'm not buying 100,000 units at the moment. Probably only buying between 100 and 250, something like that. The main thing for me is communication. If my manufacturer has good communication, it just takes all the stress out of the situation, because I know exactly what's going on, when it's going on. And if they don't understand something, they'll just ask me. Say, I've had it a couple of times with my t-shirt manufacturer. I've been working with my t-shirt manufacturer for about 9 months now. And every single time they just make sure, yeah, is this the same fit as last time? Is it the same rib as last time? Oh, we've run out of tags, so we need to go and order some more. Are you going to change the tag? Are you going to keep with it? And just asking these questions rather than me just having to tell them and keep reminding them. They ask me, and sorry, I just tripped over my words there. What I like is that they ask me instead of just doing and then apologizing later. So everything's right first time. Well, usually first time. Obviously, things do slip through the cracks, but you'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And then after good communication comes the godfather of everything, is good quality. If I order t-shirt, I've ordered like 3 bulks off my manufacturer now for t-shirts. I'm on my 4th. If I see a change in quality in the bulk, I'll never work with them again, because they're trying to cheapen out. But luckily they haven't yet, because I know I've had a couple of experiences where a t-shirt manufacturer I used to work with, or my mate used to work with, and I used to print on his blanks. You'd ask for the same fabric and you'd open the bulk and there'd be a completely different fabric. And at that point, we couldn't send them back because they weren't going to give us anything for them. We had to sell them because, I mean, times were tight, you know what I mean? And if they do that this time, I'm just gonna have to cut them off completely. We cut them off completely. We don't work with them anymore because they're just so unprofessional. And that was one of the Pakistan horror stories. I'm sorry for the country of Pakistan, but you're on the bad list now. So let's recap the whole process. You find your manufacturer, or you start looking. You know where to look. Second, you evaluate what country. Third of all, you're comparing 5 or 10 manufacturers. Lastly, you need to get the samples. Samples are expensive. Let's say for a t-shirt, you might be paying $100, including shipping, which is quite steep. But you only really have to do it once. I have a relationship with a manufacturer now where I get my samples very, very cheap, almost for their cost, because they know I'm going to place a bulk order afterwards. But you need to think about it from a manufacturer's perspective. If some random fella on the internet is saying, oh yeah, I'd like 1,000 units of this, but let's just sample it first. There's absolutely no evidence to back up what you're saying. Because to be honest, what I haven't mentioned here is I do that as well. When I'm messaging a manufacturer, I'll say all the points I said in number 3 of how to find them, my MOQ, stuff like that. And then I'll also say, I'm looking to place a bulk order of X amount of units afterwards. Let's say 500 units, but I'm only looking for 100 units. This way, I'm sort of tricking the manufacturer into giving me a lower price, say 500, than they would have quoted if it was 100. And then when I change after I've got the sample, it's confirmed to say, oh, I'd like 100 units instead of 500. I'm just testing out a new product for my customers. The next order will then be bumped up to 500. Can you honor the same price? Because they've already shown me some of their cards now that they can do a lower price. 9 times out of 10, though, they won't settle on that same price. What they will do is sort of bring it lower down, but not all the way, which you can understand because you can't expect the economies of scale if you're not hitting the amount of units. But that's just a little trick I like to do. So you get your sample, make sure once you get your sample, you are annotating it so detailed, sending it back. By sending it back, I mean sending back the tech pack of the updated adjustments, because it's never going to be right. I like to have a reason. Not a reason. Oh my God, I'm tripping over my words here. Probably should cut up some of this, but I'm not going to. You need... I can't even remember what I was saying. Sample. Yeah, I've got it. You should only really be sampling once or twice. 9 times out of 10, I'll get a sample. Let's say this football shirt. Now, this football shirt, this is the first sample. There's a couple of things I want to change on it, but there's a lot of stuff I like on it. Now, that's because I got the tech pack right. I will be going over how to make a tech pack, but not today. Now, if the tech pack was wrong, it wouldn't look like this whatsoever. You need to make sure your tech pack, which is basically just a detailed description of how to make the clothes you want, is as like child-proof as possible. Tell them every single detail, every single measurement, so they can't get it wrong. Now, this isn't perfect. I do want to change a couple of things. For example, size of embroidery on the back. I need to change this logo at the front from DTF to embroidery. Minor details. Now, because I'm still a small brand, I'm not going to pay another $100 plus shipping, because that was quite expensive, that. $100 plus shipping to go and get another one for a pre-production sample, because very minor adjustments, which you can't really get wrong if I just update the tech pack. So there's no real point. So I've got one sample off that, and I'll be putting in a bulk order for the World Cup, sort of blind, without a pre-production sample, with just a couple of minor stuff changed. Now, I do that because it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money, and if the details aren't that wrong or spot on, they can be changed. You know what I mean? Another example. Now, this is a ribbed tank top I got. Obviously, it's not ribbed, so I'm going to have to sample that again. The fit of it fits horribly. That's going to have to get sampled again. There's some things you can't cut around. Fit is one of them. Fabric is another. Customization details can be ironed out. So, I hope... Oh, my days. I just choked. So I hope you got a little bit of wisdom and guidance on how to find a manufacturer from this video. That's going to be all for today. I do usually end on a motivational quote. We're going to have to get one up. Usually I cut this out of the vlog because I actually edit the other ones, but when it's just talking to, I'll just say one off the cuff. Every single time... I like this one, actually. You can't compete with someone who's having fun. And I'm having fun, mate. Also, Marty Supreme. Not Marty Supreme. Also, Marty Windbreakers, Frost, end of the month. Make sure you sign up for early access.